Owen, thank you. So we did not hear this story in worship today, but there is a story about a woman named Esther who becomes a queen. And it is one of the readings that you can choose to do today, but we did not choose to do today. But I want to share it with you because it's one of my favorite stories in the Bible. So this is the story about Esther. Once there was a young girl named Esther. Her cousin Mordecai worked for the king. When Esther's parents died, she went to live with her cousin in the palace. Esther learned new things, wore dazzling clothes, and grew into a beautiful young woman. When the king saw Esther, he said, "I'm so happy, I want you to wear this crown and be my queen." Can you imagine somebody just saying, "Here, be a queen"? That'd be kind of crazy. Now, Esther and Mordecai were Jews, and many people did not like Mordecai or the Jewish people. But the king was a wise man, and he always listened to what Mordecai and Esther had to say. One of the men who did not like Mordecai was a very proud man named Haman. Now, when Jewish people read this story, every time they say the name Haman, they boo. You want to boo? Boo. Yeah. One day the king said, "I am giving Haman a special job. And because he is so important, everyone should kneel and bow to him." This made him happy because he thought a lot of himself. But Mordecai knew that God was the only one he should bow down to. When Haman saw that Mordecai wouldn't bow to him, he was so mad. And when he learned that Mordecai was a Jew, he was even madder. "This isn't right," he said. "I'm going to punish Mordecai and all of the Jewish people." He saw that the king loved Esther and that he listened to Mordecai, and this also made him angry. He knew that they were Jews, and so he planned for all of the Jews to be killed. But Esther was smarter than him. "I have found out something important," Esther told the king while they were eating at a banquet. She told him of his plan to kill all of the Jews. When Esther told the king that Mordecai was her cousin and that they were both Jews, the king wasn't mad at her. Because the king loved Esther so much, he gave Mordecai the job that Haman had before. "Here is my ring for you to wear," the king said to Mordecai. "Write a message to all of the Jews in my name and seal the letters with my ring." The letters that Mordecai wrote were to people across the land, and they celebrated with music, feasting, and dancing. "Hurrah for Queen Esther," the people cheered, "because the king loves her and we are saved." Now, one of the things that is not in this version of the story is that Esther is kind of afraid to talk to the king. She isn't sure if the king is going to listen to her. And Mordecai, her cousin, says, "It could be that you were born for just such a time as this." What this story tells us is that sometimes we're in the right place at the right time. Sometimes God puts us in the right place at the right time because the gifts that God gives us are what's needed. What do you think are some of the gifts God's given you? Yeah. Your family. Are any of you funny? Yeah. Are any of you creative? Yeah. Are any of you strong? Fast? Yeah. These are things that God gives us, and who knows when we might be able to use them in our lives. Let's say a prayer all together, okay? Can you repeat after me? Dear God, thank you for giving us so many gifts. Help us know when to use them to serve you. Amen. All right, before I send you back, I want to remind you that we're doing Family, Faith, and Fellowship right after worship. I forgot to say that during the announcements, but that's happening today. All right, you guys can head on back.